Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thomas and today I've got something super special again to show to you today. Something that is more special than you maybe would think when I show it to you the first time. It's the Canon EOS 1. Just EOS 1, nothing else. Not 1N, not 1V, not 1 digital. This is the original one from 1989. Would you believe that? It certainly doesn't look like a 1989 camera, does it? And if you didn't see the backside, you'd think it's just another of those DSLR cameras from a couple of years ago. But this camera can do amazing things, and it also is very, very nice to shoot. And I want to show you what is so special about it, really. So I'm super, super thrilled again. Let's have a go. So the history of this gorgeous camera, the Canon EOS 1, starts actually 3 years earlier with the Canon T90. That came in 1986, and it was the last of a long, long line of Canon FD cameras with that old manual focus lens mount, manual focus only. The problem was the timing. So the Canon T90 was a super, super innovative, like revolutionary camera designed by a German designer, Luigi Colani, and it changed the way how we look at cameras and how we operate them forever. But it was manual focus, and in 1985 Minolta had invented the autofocus cameras and introduced the mighty Minolta 7000 AF. So that was bad timing. Canon knew that, of course, and they brought the EOS mount in very quick order. I think it came out in 86 or maybe 87, and then it took another 2 years, 1989, to replace the T90 that was only 3 years old with the EOS 1. And again, this is still the same Colani design, just a little bit refined. And it brings the EOS lens mount. The EOS lens mount itself, all electronic. Today you think there's nothing special. Every lens mount today is all electronic, also Sony, Nikon, etc. But in 1989 that wasn't. It was super special because, again, Minolta made a new lens mount that was the AF mount, the Alpha mount. It wasn't fully electronic. It still had a screw drive connection to the motor and the camera for the autofocus. It also had a little lever operating the aperture. Basically, it was kind of very traditional. And Nikon and Pentax were using their old manual mounts and adopt them to make them work for autofocus. But this one didn't do it. They just ditched the FD mount, which brought a lot of, uproar in the photographic community back then. But they went for a super future-proof mount. And the good thing is that it's really unparalleled how good all lenses work on all cameras. It doesn't matter if you're shooting an analog EOS camera. It can be as old as this one from 1989, can be the most modern one, shooting digital cameras. And even when you adopt these to the RF mount, the mirrorless mount, everything always works. There's no incompatibility issues. You never have to check a list, or maybe this feature is going to work or maybe not because the lens is too old or the camera too new or whatever. That's super, super, super cool. So this is a 2013 lens, I think, the 35 IS, and it works fantastic with this 89 body, even though it's got IS, for example, that no one thought about in 1989. The IS feature works perfectly. The body itself, if you know a Canon DSLR camera, you will feel at home with this one as well. There is some idiosyncrasy that only the EOS 1 lines have, but again, this old EOS 1 has it, and all the new ones, including the digital ones, have exactly the same. Wait, I'll switch it on for you. Oh yeah, that's also a very idiosyncrasy. This is the main switch for the camera, lock, A for on, I don't know, and this is to have the beep if you focus. The big button here, that's on, off, 1 and 0, that only switches on or off this dial. But I personally have no clue why you would ever want to switch off a command dial on your camera. But okay, can. And that's this sort of, I don't know, saxophone style or trumpet style buttons. I don't know how to call them. You really have to play these buttons in a way. If you press this one, you get to the mode. This is the button for the metering. If you want to check, go from spot metering to center focus or whatever. If you press both of them, then you can select the ISO. If you press both of these, you go to ME mode. Super, super funny. So if you understand how it works, it's super easy and fast. And if you have to press 2 buttons at once, it's also a good solution against unwanted changes, you know. Apart from that, the rest, well, it's got this beautiful big upper LCD screen that so many modern cameras have, and I think it's very good. I really like if they have this. And here you have the upper command dial, and that's something that I really love about Canon cameras as well. This dial is, you know, vertically oriented, and most other cameras would have it up here in the front. And then they would have a second one here. But in the Canon, this one is up here. It's very easy to operate. And the second command dial is this huge thumb wheel. And this way, at least me, I never confuse them. I know this is for aperture, and this is to adjust, this one's to adjust my exposure. I never confuse them. And believe me, I'm shooting digital cameras since, I don't know, 2000 maybe. I always confuse the 2 command dials on Sony's and Nikon cameras. I will never learn that. I don't know why, it's just in my flesh. But with Canon cameras, I never confuse the 2 dials. And that's something they thought of back in 1989. I found that really amazing. And this feature I have to show to you in the dark. This button here, it's used to light up the display. Super, super cool. I love this blue display from, I don't know, we always think it's from the mid-90s, but actually this was already there in 1989. Forward-thinking design again. If you've got additional stuff to change, that's very cool. You find it in here. For example, the drive motor, stuff like that is all hidden back here. It kind of serves to make the camera don't look so cluttered with buttons, and still you can access all the additional stuff if you need to. I find it's a kind of a cool idea. This one, it's a bit recessed. You press this one if you want to wind back your film, even though it's not fully exposed. Normally, all this goes automatically. Film winding and rewinding, everything is automatic. It's pretty loud, as you will hear. It doesn't have a quiet mode yet, and this one's to attach the external a cable for if you want to release the camera externally or whatever. Here goes your battery. Tripod mount, very normal. And of course, you can attach a vertical grip that also acts as a booster that makes the camera wind the film more quickly. I think without the booster drive, with a small battery as I'm running the camera, it's doing 3 FPS, and with a booster it can go up to 5 FPS. That's nothing to write home about today, but we are using these analog cameras today in a different way than back then. So I think it's pretty fast if you ask me. So here goes your flash connection, external flash sync for a studio flash is here. And that's all you need to know. This is an auto everything camera. That means winding your film, rewinding, everything is done automatically, which is super handy. You just open the back to load your film, place your film, put the leader where the little arrow is, close the back, and you're done. That's super cool. On the other hand, this camera is super loud. This is a classic 1980s motor drive. And just a few years later, they would introduce newer cameras that would be really quiet and silent, but this is not. This is like almost iconic, like you've seen in old movies, but not a good camera for weddings, because for that the motor drive is just way too loud, in my opinion. Really, especially when shooting this camera with the 35 f2 IS lens, the only thing that feels a bit dated in practice is the autofocus, and that is because it's got one single autofocus point in the center. So you go to this old habit of focusing, half press the shutter button, it will pick up focus, then you recompose and then you shoot. That's it. There is no point to select other focus points because there are none. The good thing though is that this focus point is pretty precise, and it's a cross point, so it can cross sensors, so it can pick up both vertical and horizontal lines, and it actually works pretty well. In my opinion, it works better than most other cameras from the 90s that often don't have cross sensors. But yeah, this one single autofocus point, I find it okay in use, but that's the thing that dates this camera, and that maybe in the newer EOS 1 models is a little bit better. By the way, in true professional fashion, all EOS 1 models, analog or digital, come with these interchangeable focusing screens, for example, for architecture, or also if you want one with a split screen for manual focus lenses, adapted lenses. And all these screens are interchangeable between all EOS 1 models. Okay, focus and recompose again. This camera's got one single central autofocus point, not as precise as with modern cameras where you can select a point anywhere on the frame and you're just on the subject. So I'm going to shoot this flower now and then recompose a little bit. And you will see that with the 35 f2 that's perfectly okay. So let's have a go. And that's it. Size and weight of this camera. Yes, this is an EOS 1, that means that's the top model, and they are of course the most heavy model due to the very sturdy construction. Even though it's a plastic outer shell, the body alone is 890 grams, including a battery, and then you've got the weight of the lens, maybe 300 grams. Yeah, it's something. If you prefer lightweight cameras, go for a different body, but on the other hand, I don't find it so heavy, especially as long as the lenses are not too large. And it's very easy, and again, ergonomics are beautiful on this camera. I really love this hand grip. It's not just that it feels like a modern camera, it feels like a Canon camera, and they are super good in that regard. They just fit like a glove. So I'm a fan of it. And again, if you're shooting this, if you hold it in your hand, it feels like a DSLR camera. If you're operating everything, you feel like a modern camera. And the problem is the charm of analog cameras is often in the user interface and this nice old chrome and metal body styles. Leicas, for example, have it, or also old Olympus cameras, Pentax cameras, Spotmatics, Nikon FF2, even the FM2, etc. They all have this classic interface and classic looks. This one doesn't. It's a modern camera. But thinking that this is a 1989 release and it feels every bit as modern as every today's cameras, that's also an achievement. And of course, if you shoot it, it's very unobtrusive. Everything works very fine, and it just comes natural to you. So there are good things about this approach, but also maybe it's not what you're looking for in an analog camera today, because it lacks that certain real retro charm, if you know what I mean. So as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 EOS 1 models. This is the original one, EOS 1 from 1989. Then there is the EOS 1N, which is from 1994. It added a 5-point autofocus, but still only the center autofocus point was cross sensor. And then we have the EOS 1V with this brand new 45-point autofocus module that you also would find in all the digital EOS 1 models. But still, even from these 45 points, only 7 are cross sensors. I really like cross sensors because they tend to be a little bit more precise. And they're all cluttered somewhere in the center of the frame. It's not like today's cameras where you can choose a point anywhere in your image frame. It doesn't work with the EOS 1 models. Still, the V is a pretty big upgrade in autofocus. similar to the EOS 3 that also had this eye detection where the way how you look into the viewfinder would help to select the autofocus point. Very cool tech from 1998. All the other EOS models don't have this 45-point autofocus module. Most other EOS models also have somewhat slower shutters, so you have to check whatever model you want to buy, because obviously there is a huge amount of Canon EOS models. They're all very, very good cameras, but some have shutters that only go to 1/2000th of a second. If that bothers you, then the EOS 1 still might be the ticket, because 0.008 of a second is very, very cool. I have to say something about the body as well. This is a super rugged body. This is the EOS 1 body. And it's plastic. Well, polycarbonate, whatever, high quality super plastic, of course. The outer shell is not metal. The metal was reintroduced in the Canon EOS 1V, I think in 1999. But these were deliberately made with a kind of high quality plastic outer body shell. And back in 1989, that was seen as the future. Today we would think, oh, plastic is something cheap. No, back then this was thought to be more high quality even than metal. And I see the point, because these plastic shells, they have a little bit of flexibility in them. So if you, if you happen to bump your camera, not harshly, but a little bit into something, the plastic tends to smoothen the impact to the internals, and the internals, of course, in this guy are really high quality metal, but the plastic outer shells can be actually more durable than metal in a way. And also the lenses are made from plastic. This is a 2013 again, but also the old ones, and people didn't always like it, but again, it has a point. Also, when you hold to the camera in low temperature conditions in winter or something, this feels much more warm, and you never have this touching to metal and minus temperatures. Not nice, believe me. This camera doesn't have that issue. And one other thing is, I don't know how Canon made it, and all the other manufacturers got it wrong. The leatherette stuff that goes here around the grip, or also here or here, all this doesn't fail after all those years. I mean, check Minolta and Dynex 9XI, the plastic or leatherette stuff is always in a horrible condition today. And Nikon's, it gets sticky and gluey and it falls off basically. Whatever camera you're looking at, even the Z7 cameras have that issue, the really new cameras. And this is 40 years old, nothing failed. And I never heard of any other Canon camera since then where this leatherette stuff would ever fail. So that's also something good, you have to admit. And what I also love is, for example, this part, big eye cup, very, very comfortable. It's soft and big, and these were used throughout the whole run of EOS 1 digital cameras. The EOS 7D still has the same thing like this. So again, something that they got just right from the beginning, if you ask me. So there's a lot to like when using these cameras and handling them, even though I totally get there's not the charm of yesterday in it. Go figure. One thing you really have to look for if you're buying an EOS 1 is what sort of hand grip it comes with. This is the small hand grip, and you have this little thing here to attach it. But if you see, this is where your battery goes. If your camera comes with a larger hand grip, then this small piece might be missing. And you can only shoot it with a large hand grip. It's not like with other cameras where basically you have a battery grip that only goes on the bottom of the camera, but here it's really part of the hand grip, the battery part. So you have to make sure that your camera that you're buying comes with a grip that you want. If you don't have the small grip, they can be pretty expensive because many people want them. And a lot of cameras that come with a large hand grip are missing the small ones. They just get lost over time. So that you have to keep in mind when buying a used body. Apart from that, there is no real, weak parts in these cameras. They are all very, very sturdy. You should just look for some that's not beaten to death. But yeah, that's maybe common sense.
Your tongue when we're talking about what I need. Say what you will at the hardware store. Don't get you started talking about sports, baby. Why won't you talk to me?
Time for the verdict. As you can tell when watching this video, I really love this camera for what it is. It's modern, but it has a twist, like the sounds alone, this film advanced noise. It's a pretty loud camera, like in these old 1980s, 1990s action movies. And just 2, 3, 4 years later, the newer models, they're already super silent. It's just amazing to see all these little advancements that happened over time, and that some of them, this happened in 1989 and it was loud. And I don't know, Minolta 9XI from 1992 is already super silent. Very, very funny. I love the fast shutter. I used to think that with analog film you don't need super fast shutters, but actually having an 8,000th of a second is super, super cool because you could shoot at a little bit higher ISO film all day round, and you can still shoot at open aperture in sunlight. Yeah, fantastic. I love the handling. I even love the looks. It looks super, super cool. And in my opinion, it looks better than many modern Canon EOS models. So yeah, a lot to like. Again, this is not for you if you want super modern autofocus with a lot of points. But yeah, analog maybe then is not for you anyway. And it's not for you if you're looking for the super classic Leica style, the 1950s, 60s style. Those cameras are also a lot of fun to shoot. But this, it just gets the job done with IS lenses like what I'm shooting here right now. Super, super versatile. It just broadens the possibilities of analog photography. So, in my opinion, highly, highly recommended. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe even found it useful. If you did so, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. Many, many thanks for your support. And if you've got any questions or comments regarding this beautiful camera or analog cameras in general, just write something in the comment section below. I love to read all your comments and I will happily answer every single one of them, even though sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sorry for that. So, I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.